Hello all. This video here is made up of various sections, and it's made up of videos and photographs and voiceovers of subjects that I find to be quite strange, and I'm just wanting to get answers for any explanations or whatnot. It just seems rather, some of the stuff is really peculiar, and I thought I would just share this out on my video called Quest. Now I'm going to possibly make a few of these, so it'll be made up of different sections. It'll be like one part, and then there'll be a wee bit intermittent, and then there'll be another part, etc, etc. And I will just go through all the different photos and videos and stuff that I point out that I find to be quite odd. So it's just like, you know, you could have your own decision and make your own mind up on it. I mean, I just personally find it something that I haven't come across before. Everybody's got their own point of view on it. You know, some don't. A lot of people may not see it the way I do. I mean, I'm pushing 46, 45 and a half, and I won't be long before I'm turning 46. So I've been around for a wee while. And these things that I've pointed out in this video, I can't believe, and I don't really think, I can't understand how anybody could think that I've missed this before. When I talk about recent times, I mean like times where, this is like 2021, so I mean going back to 2016 was probably the time where I noticed a great intensity of this sort of oddness. I've always been a believer in, well, supernatural stuff because I've personally experienced it. So, but without going into too much of that, as I say, this is just stuff that I've decided to put up on my video and just share it with you to see what you just to see what you think of it, basically. That's all. As I say, everybody's got their own way of looking at things, and you know, they may not believe, they might just think it's normal. A lot of people do that I've talked about these things. They just think that I've missed them or it's normal, but it's just something I'm going to share with you. So enjoy watching. It's really all it's about, just see what you think. Okay, thanks for selecting it. And I'll show you that. So that's the bus that I just came off. It's a Leyland Titan. Looks like Glasgow. Right. 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 These are pictures I've taken during an exploration around a derelict building. It's the London Lights Hotel, which is not far from the town of Leven in the Scottish district of Fife. This hotel's been shut for years, about, not far off 10 years, and there was me and a couple of other pals We were just interested in exploring old buildings, and we went inside this. The first thing that was really odd is that there was still power on in the building. When we arrived there was lights on. You could see the lights in the windows, like there was people living there. Obviously there wasn't. So I really find this really bizarre, because the building, as you might be able to see in some of the photos there, was in quite a condition. It was derelict, and it was been shut for years, yet there's still electricity on. And we were never broken. The doors were already busted open before we got there. And as I say, it's been shut for years and years. And we were exploring the building. The bathroom extractor fans for the showers were still working in some of the rooms. You could hear them turning away. There was a socket with a lamp switched on, connected up to it and switched on. Just before we went in this building, there was a group of kids that were in there before we got in. So they might have, put the lights on. But what I find odd though is the fact that there's still power on in a derelict building like this. I've explored derelict buildings before, and I've never come across anything like this. So I thought I'd log it in anyway. It was a nice building, as it turned out, quite interesting. But very strange as far as the electricity still being on. Now this is quite strange. I'm looking at the moon and there's lots of clouds going over it, and yet I could still see it. Why isn't the moon covered? And I can still see the moon. Now it's starting to cover up a wee bit now, but earlier on the cloud cover was just as thick. There it is there again. It's just like the moonlight is just piercing a hole through the clouds all the time. See, all that is just covering right over the front of the moon, and yet it's still visible. The cloud could block out the sun, it could block out things, so how is it not blocking out the moon here? That's just incredible, that, because that's fairly thick cloud. It's going right in front of the moon, but yet the moon could still be seen. A few months ago I was able to see the moon features through the clouds, which was just absolutely bizarre. And there's a slight halo as well, like a ring round. It's maybe not very clear there, but looking at it with the naked eye, I can see that there's clouds moving in front of that moon, and yet the moon is still visible, and I can still see the features, the crater features on it. It's just like the moon is just punching a hole right through the clouds. It's pretty bizarre, that. Anyway, it's the 23rd of November 2021. But yeah, the article said it's shut down in June 2000. But yet there's an article I've checked online, Independent I think, saying that there's jobs to go. They're going to lose jobs, 450 jobs going to go at the Volvo truck and bus plant in Irvine. And that article was on the 22nd October 2011. So how that makes sense, I don't know. But the Mandela effect, like I said, is something that I consider, because I've experienced the phenomena, something that's referred to that online as the Mandela effect. I've definitely experienced it. But the article, I just came across, I just find it bizarre that it would say that. So this is obviously old waste ground. That would have been a beam going up to support the big warehouse that the factory was in. So it looks as though it's been shut up. It's a battery screaming out. I put it on the car charger for put a wee drop of battery in, but it's yeah, what was I saying? It looks like it's been shut down for 21 years. It's been August 2011. Ah, big spider there. Jeez. Big spider. So certainly there's a lot being said that it's been shut since June 2000. But yet there's this article from an independent paper. It's called Independent, and it's got a big one, and it's saying the article in 2011. So it's like if you do research into the Mandela effect, it's a similarity. You know, a lot of people remember him dying in 1990, roundabouts, and yet there's an article written about it. But apparently he didn't die until 2013. But I'm not going to go on about that. That's just what I was dubbed the Mandela effect. Well, I've come across loads of them. But it's very bizarre why they would have an article saying that the factory was shut in 2011 when it had been shut 11 years before. And it does look like it's been shut for a very long time. It's all overgrown and everything. So, right, so I've made it onto the site I believe would be the old truck and bus, Volvo truck and bus factory at Irvine, where the Volvo Ilse buses were built. There was other buses built here as well. Production, after it's closed, I believe in June 2000, the production went down to Warwick. Volvo truck and bus done in Warwickshire, which is in England. But they did obviously do other models of buses here as well. They've done the Volvo Olympian, the Volvo B6, which is the midi bus. But I remember it mainly for the Ilse because I'm a Volvo Ilse bus fan. That's what Dundee's buses were. The whole fleet was made up of Volvo Ilses. 99% of the fleet was made up of it. So I think I've showed there's not really much. So I'm at the lay-by at Tayport, and it's quite strange actually. This is where I just had our tea in the car. Now, this is the wall that stops the water from coming up. That's the River Tay, that's looking out towards Dundee. That's the rail bridge in that direction. I'm pointing towards Tay rail bridge. And you can see the lovely moon as well. That's looking towards Tayport. Now this was done not long ago. This was all built and made. This resurfaced it and redone all this and made it into an actual curbside, quayside. Now what's odd is that there's seaweed and everything all the way up. That's one part right at the edge here, and the seaweed is reached all the way up to where this field is. It looks like seaweed. Now the water would never reach this high. I've never known the water to reach this high. Seaweed. Now why would all that seaweed get to here? See, they would never expect water to reach this high because they've got all this here. They've got a bench and everything. They've got the memorial slabs for the Tay rail bridge disaster. They've got this all pavement out. The rail bridge disaster memorial. And they've got all the seaweed is reached up here. Now that's a water defence wall. That's to stop the water from reaching up. Now I've come to this lake for many years before. Only recently I've stopped coming up because it's just too bumpy and it's damaging the car. Well, it will damage your car because it's bottoming out over the ridiculously sized bumps that they won't fix. But it wasn't always that bad, and for years we used to come here, sit over tea, or chip our tea, and all year round that is, and I've never known the water to ever reach this high. See, you see seaweed down there, you'd expect that the water may reach to this height, but I've never known the water to ever get this close. I've never known it to reach this far. I've known it to get pretty close, about there, but never right up to the wall. And I've certainly never known the water to ever come over the wall in the car park area, up to as far as the field, the fence. That's fence boundaries, the field. And as you can see, it looks as the water has, because when we drove in here, we saw a lot of this sort of stuff all over the stones and gravel. It looks as though it just looks a bit rougher than it should be, than what it normally is. I'm saying that I haven't been there for a wee while, but even still, it doesn't seem to explain why it's like that. Now this seaweed goes all the way along this way, which is towards the main road. See, some more seaweed. So I don't understand that, because this car park has been made, in anticipation for safe car parking. I mean, if they thought the water was going to come up this far, they wouldn't have spent money making this in the car park. Because they've even done a good job. This never used to be just tidy. That just used to be grass that used to come along. This wasn't actually this colour. This was all just mud. It was a dirt track, really bumpy as well. But unfortunately, it's not lasted, and it's still very bumpy, which has put us off coming here, because there's no bottom in the car out over these ridiculous sized bumps that they just seem to fail to repair properly. They filled it up once with gravel, but it didn't last 5 minutes really. Just look, you've even got benches here, and all this is somehow washed up here. It is pitch dark, unfortunately. I would have shown you better during the day, but I'm afraid I'm just going to make the video now for you and show you what I'm seeing, what I find pretty bizarre. Because as I say, I've never known seaweed to reach this far. Why would the water reach this far? We've even got bins and everything here. I wouldn't expect water to come this far up. It's just... So I don't really get that. The first thing I noticed when we came in here is that this was a lot rougher with all this debris, hay, or not hay, but sort of seaweed, or all this sort of stuff. There's all this kind of... See, I don't know what's been going on here, like, but seaweed. It just looks like it's been washed up. See, look. Well, that's a fairly new sign. It's got... It never used to have a time limit on it. Parking available daily from 8 AM to 9 PM. Vehicles are up to the park. So I never used to have a time limit. I just discovered that there. But as I say, this is the first time in a few months that I've been here. Because as I say, it's because of these ridiculously sized potholes that have put me off coming here. I'll just go elsewhere. There's other places nice to go. Now the water would have came right up to the... See, that's a house there on that's their wall. So it must have reached up to there. And then that would have threatened to flood their ground. Which I'm getting on the way up with it. Look, I mean, that's just crazy. The bumps and stuff are just absolutely extortionately ridiculous. Lovely moon up there as well. It's one Bay car park, but they could at least get the blooming big potholes. That's not even a pothole, they're just massive craters. It's just ridiculous. Damages the car. But there's less people in the car tonight, so I decided to come along just to see if they were going to fix it, and I managed to get across kind of without doing too much damage. There was less weight in it, but see all this. Never ever. See, that's all new. I've never known water to come up to this height. And just say that's just a house right there. And this was only done. This was resurfaced a couple of years ago. So if they knew water was going to reach this high, why would they have spent all that time and money doing all this? The water to this height. I just find that pretty unusual. I've never known water. I mean, you can see all this stuff, all that stuff down there. That's kind of like the beach or the bay. All that has been washed up to here. So it's must have water coming way up the height of the wall. It's difficult to show the height on the video, unfortunately, but there's a train going over the T-rail bridge. Oh, there's a plane there as well. But yeah, the water's obviously, well, the water seems to have come all the way up here anyway, which I just find very peculiar. Just thought I'd make a video of that to log it in for my own records. And I wasn't initially going to put this online, but I'm going to anyway, because I might see if anybody's got any explanations. You might know more. The benches have been put there. There's seaweed right on them. Brand new, well, not brand new, but they're new benches that were recently put there. I remember them just doing this only a couple of years ago. Two, maybe not even three, probably two, or maybe two and a half years ago, maybe. But for years and years before that, we came here for many years. Well, a few years anyway. And we used to come all throughout the year. And I've never ever known this to have happened. Couldn't imagine it, the water ever reaching this height. As I say, the most I've ever seen the water coming up to was about, obviously across here and into the bay. It would have been about, probably about there. There's the water at the moment. I can't show you, but the water at present's maybe about 60 feet away. Well, I've maybe seen it about 10 feet away from the wall where I am, 10, 15 feet away. And even then it would have been shallow. It was nowhere near the height of this. There was never a threat of the water ever coming up to this level and into the car park. And certainly, you could imagine it reaching all the way up here. And even if it was windy and gale force, I don't remember, because I've been here before over the years when it's been very windy, and luckily enough I got back over the Tay Road Bridge, that is, because we stay in Dundee. I've never saw this before. Well, it's been gale force winds either, but very strong winds. So I thought I'd log it in. So it's Wormit Bay Beach, or Wormit Bay car park, and it's 23rd of November 2021. Okay, so that's the end of this video. I might make more of these, and it'll just be the same sort of format. Well, I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you feel like you've got any explanations for some of the anomalies that I find to be quite unusual, then me and anybody else that may be interested, that see it the same as I do, that it's quite odd, would like to hear it. Yeah, it's really odd, but there you go. Just thought I would share it with you. Thanks for watching. Okay, cheers, bye.